You join me today talking to a previous client of mine, Lynn, who's kindly agreed to tell me about his experience of the timeline therapy technique when he and I worked through this about a year ago, was it?
Yeah.
Something like that. So Lynn will give you his honest opinion of how timeline therapy worked for him and what his experience before was and what his experience afterwards was. Okay? Okay, so Lynn, thanks for agreeing to do this for me today.
No problem.
So in terms of timeline therapy, before you actually did the timeline therapy technique program with me, where were you before that, sort of, in your mind? What sort of place were you in before?
I was nowhere and everywhere. I was basically lost. I had no direction. I had no way of focusing how I felt mentally. Chaos. I felt chaotic. So it was affecting all aspects of my life because I basically could not organise myself. So it gave me I had no direction, I had no purpose. All changed when we did the timeline therapy.
Cool. So was there anything in particular that inspired you to do timeline therapy with me?
Yeah. And when you mentioned this timeline therapy, it seemed to give me an avenue where I could put my life in line, in line with the timeline therapy. So it would allow me to focus. So I'm very grateful to you.
No, it's a pleasure. Because I know we'd had, we had discussed the benefits of timeline therapy for you, on a few occasions.
Yes, yeah.
Because I could see that you were kind of struggling in some areas.
Yeah, in conversation you could obviously tell that I was lost.
Yeah.
And saw this avenue that could help me. And as indeed it
did. It has, yeah. Okay. So in the 12 months or so since you've done, you've done the timeline therapy with me, what's changed? How do you feel different? Do you see things differently?
Yes. Even my past I see differently, because this horizontal line that you conjured up in my mind, I can look back at the line and I see events in my life that have made me who I am, negative and positive. And I was never really able to look forward. So my timeline didn't exist before. It's I wouldn't say regimented isn't the right word, but it's in order.
Right.
From back to my childhood, birth. And consequently, looking forward, I'm much more steady, I'm much more in control of my own destiny.
Yeah, so it's kind of giving you a bit of clarity now, because one of the things that timeline therapy does is, because through our lives we've all had emotional stuff that we've dealt with, negative and positive. The positive stuff is great, but when it's a significant negative emotional event, which we all experience, when it's something like that, it holds you back.
It does, it definitely does.
I always think of it as being almost like having a metaphorical rucksack on your back, and as you go through life, you hit something, your unconscious mind says to you, we'll deal with that later on, and it just pops it in the rucksack.
Yeah.
And then you move on again, and something else happens, and your unconscious mind says, that's fine, we'll deal with that at some other point. Put it in the rucksack, and before you know it, this rucksack weighs an absolute ton.
Yeah.
So you can't move, you're stuck.
Excess baggage was definitely a problem.
So you can't physically, if that was a physical rucksack with breeze blocks or bricks or something in it,
yeah,
you would be dragged down, you'd be really slow moving, and that's how it kind of works. That's how the analogy.
Yeah, that's an analogy that is
Do you know what
absolutely
I mean? So, and it sounds like
precise.
And it kind of worked for you.
Yes.
You know, from that perspective as well, didn't it?
It's almost like I took those bricks out of the rucksack, but I don't feel I'm carrying them.
No.
So my future looks brighter.
Yeah.
Rather than
when you were thinking about all the all those negative things that that had happened, when we were doing the process, did you find there were a lot of things that you were learning about you in the past?
Yes, it was. I was almost a kleptomaniac for negative thoughts. The negative thoughts that I kept in this rucksack. There was no reason for me to keep them. A lot of them weren't massive major events. There were several, but a lot of them were trivial events that really should never have gone near the rucksack. So it allowed me to get rid of them instantly. And then the bigger issues, out they went, but I was more able to analyse what went on and why they made me feel like I did. And as I said, it's still on the line, but it's not in the rucksack.
No.
So
and I think that's the important thing. You can't delete those.
No.
Those events, whatever's happened, you can't delete them. But what basically what we've done is delete the negative emotions attached to them.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So as far as the timeline therapy session that we did together, has that helped you develop personally? Helped you develop professionally? Have you taken on any new sort of persona? Any new plans, career plans, or?
It's allowed me to be more in the moment. The best part of it is that I can plan in the moment, whereas before I was always looking behind, and I was never actually in the moment. I was in the past a lot, trying to rationalise, trying to sort out, trying to eradicate the negatives. But now I know they're always going to be there. I don't have to have them in the now, in the here and now, which allows me to go forward. So I now plan in, whereas I couldn't plan.
Yeah. So you couldn't kind of see a future ahead
No,
of you.
no.
But now you can.
There were always what ifs, hurdles, barriers, doors that just wouldn't allow me to plan any further. But because I've been able to sort out my past, it's allowed me to plan my future. I think that's how I would say.
Cool. So, cast your mind back to that moment immediately after we had done timeline therapy, after we had finished the session. Can you recall what you were feeling at that particular moment? Although, around that sort of, that short period immediately after.
I felt like that. I felt that something had switched in my mind, that there was a clarity. The biggest surprise was that I thought we'd been doing the therapy for about half an hour, 3/4 of an hour. And when you told me it was actually 2.5 hours, I was absolutely amazed. I was gobsmacked because it just didn't feel that long. So to me, it sent me in a deeper state than I ever thought possible, because I literally lost all that time. But it was a lost time that has given me more time in the future, because it's clarified everything. Like I said before, the rucksack now, it's all offloaded.
The rucksack is all offloaded.
So I got a fresh start then. That's how I felt, a fresh start. But the time was
because a few times since you mentioned to me, you said you were surprised at how long a period we'd spent
Yes, it was.
in in the therapy room doing that.
Yeah.
Whereas your initial reaction was it's only been half an hour.
Yeah, and even now I'm thinking about it again. I still can't believe that 2 hours at least.
Yeah, it was about 2.5 hours.
Yeah, let's say 2 hours at least were lost.
Yeah, but the
doing myself good.
No, absolutely, and I think that the reason for for me spending 2.5 hours with you, looking at that timeline therapy session, was because from my perspective, I wanted you to get absolutely amazing results from it.
I did.
Do you know what I mean? And that's why we spent the time to make sure that any of those issues that you had, any of those, the underlying negative stuff, because you get rid of something, and then I'd say, is there anything else?
Yeah.
And you'd say no, and I'd say, well, just go back and check. And quite often there was something else that we needed to get rid of as well. So I didn't want to leave any breadcrumbs.
Well, it's like a domino. You take a domino away, there's another domino waiting.
Yeah.
Just that sort of thing.
It's just a case of get rid of it all. So, in terms of Develop Mind, which is obviously my that's my coaching business. Your experience has mainly been around timeline therapy.
Yeah.
So that was the one kind of technique that we did together. So having been through timeline therapy with me, what's your perception? What's your view now of Develop Mind Limited as a coaching business, and me as the master coach?
Absolutely positive. The positive experience of timeline therapy, with my ability now to plan, because the past is in line. The number of therapies you offer is incredible, really. It's an arsenal of therapies.
Yeah, it is. I've not thought about it that way actually, but it is.
And you've got a therapy for any problem, and with that, it's a very great reassurance for me, because I know that there's hypnotherapy, there's all types of therapies that I could call on via you if I was in need. It almost makes it easier to be me, knowing that I've got many safety nets that I can call on.
You've got your army with its arsenal in the background.
So it's not just the one therapy. It's still working for me today. The timeline therapy is still working for me today, over a year later, and I can't see it not functioning for me now. But the other therapies that you offer are basically, they're like an insurance policy. They're there, and if I need them, I can call on them. So my whole vision of your company is one of help and hope. I mean, as you know, I was in the healthcare, the NHS for 37 years, so I'm used to caring, but most of that is physical care. What you offer are keys to opening doors, to let out the demons, to let in positivity, and I think it's something that a lot of people would really benefit from.
So thinking about that, that a lot of people, if you were in a network of people, and you could see that somebody was in need of timeline therapy, or that it would be useful for them, or you could think, well, actually, that's how I used to feel.
Yeah.
And Paul in Develop Mind sorted that out for me. Would you recommend Develop Mind to other people?
Hand on heart, I'd have no hesitation at all. I don't recommend things because it's my name. It's a bit more frivolous, but I wouldn't recommend a restaurant to anyone, because my positive experience may not be anybody else's positive experience. So my word is my bond, and if I said to another friend of mine, look, my mate Paul, he's absolutely brilliant at this, I think you'd be, you'd find it a really positive experience, then I would, without hesitation.
Good.
It's the whole package, really. I mean, you go there with a rucksack full of problems, and 99.9% of those problems, you've got a key to opening the door to kick them out. So it's.
But you were a good client as well. Do you know what I mean? Whatever I needed you to do, you did.
I think that's because
that's about working together as well.
I think
because
everything, your voice, the professional persona, I'd have no problem.
Yeah, because one of the skills I've got, apart from using the techniques, is actually establishing that rapport with people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of work that goes into setting up a rapport with a client.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's not just meeting somebody cold.
And
you're hoping for the best. It doesn't work like that. Right, I'm putting you on the spot now.
Right, move back.
If you could use one word to describe developed mind or to describe timeline therapy, what would that one word be?
Positive. I'd have to say positive, because it is, and anyone out there who has anything like I had, then developed mind is the way to go, because my life has totally changed. It's gone from a cloud to bright sunshine.
Yeah.
And even though I have dips, when I go back to my timeline therapy, I come out of the dip a lot quicker than I used to. In fact, sometimes I can stop myself going into the dip by bringing the timeline therapy experience.
There was a little tool that I gave you for you to use, wasn't there? Every night, to make sure that any stuff that had happened that day you could get rid of.
Yeah, just file it all away.
And that helps to, that helps you.
You literally start.
And you start afresh the following day then.
Yeah.
Cool. Excellent. So, thank you for your time.
A genuine pleasure.
No, but genuinely thank you for giving up your time to come and share your experience of timeline therapy. So, if you are interested, if some of what Lynn has said in the video resonates with you, get in touch, and I look forward to chatting to you soon.